So today we're trying something a little bit brand new, a little out of my comfort zone. I decided to come and film outside. I'm in one of my favorite spaces. One of my favorite spaces in this here town. I come here to meditate, hang out with friends, and sometimes just if I need some air. And yeah, I just got tired of the filming in my room. I don't know, sit down videos like that where it's just like me staring at a camera in my room. I don't know, they just feel a little weird. They feel a little unorthodox. For me, I've decided that I'm going to try and do these backstory videos and try and be as creative as I possibly can be, and not so much make them like an informative video, but more like a chat. And I hope that works out, but we'll see. So today's video is on mental illness, which is a poem that I posted I think a couple months ago, 6 to 11 months ago. It's a very short poem and it appears in my first book, Little Go Blue. And yeah, so that's what we're backstorying today. I keep being conscious about what it'll be like, because right now I'm like completely alone and like people aren't really near me. And I considered doing this as like a discussion with a trusted friend or somebody else, and I think that might be an idea that I might look into in the future. But yeah, so mental illness. Honestly, I contemplated a lot on whether or not I wanted to put this in the original compilation of Little Go Blue, because for a very long time I was a bit iffy about writing about my mental health and my state of being, so to speak. Not that I didn't write about it, but it was more of like a insecurity in terms of talking about it and sharing it with other people. And what that resulted in for me was a deterioration of my mental health, because I wasn't talking about it, and so nobody really knew what was going on, because I'm really good at hiding things when they're going on. So yeah, so mental illness, as true as it can be, or being as true as it can be to the collection Little Go Blue, is one of those poems that I'm like, you belong here, because the collection as a whole is meant to be a, hey, this is how I feel. It's meant to be a, I am not okay, and I'm finally ready to talk about that. I'm finally ready to talk about how I feel about certain things, and my state of being, and the things that I've been through, and the things that I think about. The poem title is written in sort of like a mockingly way, with the capitalization of certain letters, and some of them being in small caps, and sort of like you're being sarcastic, like, oh, mental illness, like that's not a real thing. And I think that came from my own experiences with mental illness, and just being sort of raised in a culture that just really didn't acknowledge this as a real thing until recently, or until the last, I would say in the last 5 years. This is when this became a real like chat for me and my family and my friends, in terms of recognizing this as an actual thing, and not just your feelings as something that you can just get over. So the poem is inspired by a conversation I had with a very close person to me, when I was telling them that, hey, I'm going to therapy and I'm not okay, essentially, like I'm just not doing well, and the reception of that like confession, of that, just that conversation as a whole, was not the same type of reception you would get should you tell somebody that, hey, I have the flu, or hey, my stomach is sore, or You know, hey, I have cancer. Most people react to that as, we need to get you help. Are you taking your meds? Like, it's in a very caring way, like you need to get better. You know, it's treated like an actual illness. And it's like, the conversation that I was having with this person who was very close to me is that I expected that type of reception, and that's not necessarily what I got. So the poem is structured in such a way that it's almost like an attack. And the speaker, they're two speakers. So it's a representation of that same conversation, of how I would see my relationship with this person go from this point forward, with them knowing that I am not mentally and emotionally okay. I remember they were particularly worried about me ending up institutionalized or ending up on medication, and that how that would affect my reputation, how that would affect how people see me, my potential in getting work, and so forth. And it's just a thing of like, you're not supposed to worry about this kind of stuff, you know, like you're not supposed to you're not supposed to stress me out about the potentials of me getting a job when I'm telling you that I kind of want to die. Not even kind of, it's like, I don't want to be here. And your first response to that is not, hey, how can we fix this? It's, but what would they think if they know that you want to die? What, you know, we have to hide this. We have to pretend like it's not okay. Can't you just ignore it? Can't you just, you know, can't we just pray it away? Surely we can pray it away. You know, Jesus heals all things. And that's not to say that he doesn't, because I am a Christian. But it's like, let's recognize when there's real pain in something, and let's recognize when somebody is actually sick, and validating that, hey, acknowledge you're sick. We need to help you out. And you have identified that these are the things that I think are going to help me out, be that it's therapy, be that it's meds, whatever it is that you think is going to help you out, we're going to support you in that, and we're going to help you get better. The first line of the poem is, did you take your pills? And it almost sounds like the same type of thing that, like, if you were sick with something physically visible, like if you have the flu, you know, a person who cares about you would ask you, hey, did you remember to take your meds today? You know, you need to get better. So that I purposely put that as the first line and as a recurring line in the rest of the poem. But the first line is placed in such a way that you would read it as though this person actually cares. You know, did you take your pills? Did you remember to take your medicine today? And when the answer from the second speaker in the poem is no, you would expect that the next line after this is, well, you're supposed to take your medication. You know, I'm sorry that the lighting is weird here. I didn't account for that. But yeah, it's like you would expect the person to be like, but you're supposed to take your medication. You're supposed to, you know, come on, let's go get your meds. But it changes. The tone goes from, I was just reminding you to take your medication, to, you actually shouldn't be on the meds. Just stop. Just don't take the meds. Don't go to therapy. Don't, just stop it. And let's pray it away. We're not gonna let anybody know that you've been depressed. We're not gonna let anybody know that, you know, this is the space that you're in. You're gonna get better. It's only a phase. There's a particular line of they don't know, I'm trying to remember it now, shoot. Like, they don't know of the way my mind screams at night, or the way that I can't breathe sometimes. And it was like, when I was talking to this person, it was really that testament of like, they haven't seen it, because like I said in the beginning of this video, I am very good at hiding it when I'm not okay. I'm I'd been previously, or at the point of writing this poem, I'd been very, very good at functioning. So to almost come to this person who was close to me and say, hey, like, I've been depressed for a while now. It was like, what? Since when? Nah. So it was getting so bad to the point I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. Like I can't pretend like everything is okay anymore, because frankly at this point I like it's a bit much. It's too much, you know? You haven't seen the symptoms, you haven't seen the signs, because I've been so good at isolating myself when I get into a bad space. But this is a real thing. So in light of all of these things, in light of this particular conversation and just how I had been reflecting about how I handled myself in terms of my own mental health and my people around me, because I think for a long time I also didn't want it to be real. I also thought like, nope, it's just a bad day. We're moving on. When essentially it wasn't, you know? So the message that I really wanted this poem to have was, we need to stop invalidating people with mental illnesses. We need to stop just telling them, hey, they're just having a bad day, or, you know, you'll get over it. And even the words escape me. Like it's like we need to start treating this as an actual thing, because I think that if we do, then it will stop being such a horrendous journey to partake in, such a horrendous thing to get better from. You know, I think one of the biggest issues when it comes to mental illness is how a lot of people have to face these things alone, because nobody understands what they're going through. So heavily, I need this to be a thing that's as normal as the regular flu, you know? And I understand that there are more causes for things like depression and anxiety and all the other mental illnesses on the planet, as opposed to a flu, like the example that I've decided to go with. Because the flu is just like, it's a virus, okay, here's your meds and whatever. Depression can be caused by a lot of things. Mental illness comes in many forms and has many different symptoms. But the message that I really wanted to pack was, hey, let's treat this as a real thing. Let's treat this as an actual problem. And as such, if somebody comes to you and says, hey, I don't think I'm doing okay right now, it shouldn't be a thing of, you get over it. It should be a thing of, what can we do to help? What do you think is going to help? Do you want to go to therapy? We're going to take you to therapy. We're going to get you to talk to somebody. And we're going to support you through it. And during the process, it's, hey, is it helping? If it's not helping, we need to find something else. The same way that we treat any other sickness. The same way that we treat any other sickness. This is just a sickness of the mind. And I understand that it's difficult to pay attention to it because it's very, very much internal. But it's a real thing. And we should not mock it, and we should not pretend like people don't actually need meds. People don't actually need things to help. But yeah, thank you for joining me. I hope you like this poem. If you haven't watched the video for it, the link is above, and maybe I'll put it in the description as well. It's from my book that came out, I don't know why I said mine like that. It's from my book that came out in 2020, I think. Yeah, beginning of 2020 is when I released Little Go Blue. There's also a video about the writing of Little Go Blue if you want to go check that out. And yeah, tell me what you think. Tell me if that message sort of resonates with you. And yeah, if you like this video, please like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. My name is RB. Thank you for joining me. Bye.